Hello, you are watching the Top 5 channel. Daniel Defoe's novel, Robinson Crusoe, is one of the most popular and widely read books in the world. But stories about someone ending up on a deserted island and spending several years there, in complete solitude, have also happened in real life. Sometimes the adventures of real-life Robinsons are even more incredible than the plot of Robinson Crusoe. Now I will tell you the most famous stories of people stranded on a deserted island. The most famous real-life Robinson in the world was named Alexander Selkirk. It was his memoirs that became the basis for Daniel Defoe's novel, and it is his adventures that are described in Robinson Crusoe, albeit in a somewhat altered form. Selkirk was a Scottish sailor and served as a boatswain on a pirate ship. In May 1704, due to a quarrel with the captain, he had to disembark onto a small uninhabited island in the Pacific Ocean. Alexander built himself a hut from logs and leaves. He learned to make fire by rubbing sticks together and even managed to tame wild goats that had been brought to the island many years before. Other travelers. He survived on fish, fruits, and the meat of sea turtles and made clothes from goat skins. In total, Alexander Selkirk spent 4 years and 4 months on the island and was rescued in January 1709 when 2 English warships anchored off the island's shore. Alexander was taken on board, and after a long voyage, it was only in 1711 that he finally managed to return to his homeland. 8 years later, Daniel Defoe wrote the book, The Life and Strange Surprising Adventures of Robinson Crusoe. The novel became a bestseller, but the real story and the plot of Defoe's book differ in many ways. Robinson Crusoe spent as many as 28 years on the island, while Alexander Selkirk only spent 4 years. In the fictional story, the hero of the novel had a friend, a native named Friday, whereas in reality, Selkirk spent all his years on the island alone. The next story took place in 1540. The Spanish sailor Pedro Serrano was the only survivor after a shipwreck in the Pacific Ocean. Pedro's salvation was a small uninhabited island which was merely a narrow strip of sand 8 kilometers long. The island was completely deserted and lifeless, with not even fresh water to be found. The unfortunate sailor would have perished if not for the sea turtles, the island's only visitors. Pedro was able to satisfy his hunger with turtle meat dried in the sun, and he made bowls from the turtle shells to collect rainwater. There wasn't a single stone on the island, so to make fire, the sailor had to dive to the seafloor and gather a few small stones there. By burning dry seaweed brought in by the waves, the sailor could cook food and keep warm at night. 3 years passed, yet the Spaniard remained on the island. Sometimes he would have hope for rescue when a ship appeared on the horizon, but hope turned to despair when the ship passed by without noticing the sufferer. Waking up one morning, Serrano discovered something incredible. He had gained a companion. Another person ended up on the island. It turned out to be a sailor from a ship that had wrecked near the island's shores. During the disaster, this person grabbed onto a plank and swam to safety. Then he noticed smoke and swam to the shore. Thus they began living on the island together. Now Serrano made a harpoon from a piece of wood with a fishbone tip and used it to catch fish. He shared everything he had with his companion. In the evenings, they had endless conversations, telling each other about their lives and making grand plans for the future. After 7 years of solitude, a ship finally approached the island and lowered a boat. As they neared the island, the sailors from the boat saw 2 strange, shaggy creatures approaching them. The sailors, terrified, began rowing back. Serrano and his unfortunate companion, in despair, fell to their knees and began to pray. The boat turned back, and our heroes were saved. And then a true twist of fate occurred. Serrano's companion, who had been making grand plans for the future with him all these years, was so overwhelmed by their rescue that he died of a heart attack on the ship. As for Serrano himself, he was first taken to Spain and then to the Emperor in Germany. The Emperor showered Serrano with gold, making him a wealthy man. The former sailor decided to buy land in Peru and settle there, but he died on the way. Our next hero was named Daniel Foss. He was an American traveling on a ship in the southern part of the Pacific Ocean. But it happened that on November 25, 1809, the ship collided with an iceberg and sank, and only Daniel Foss managed to survive and reach the nearest island. The island, like in the story of Pedro Serrano, turned out to be completely deserted, but instead of being sandy, it was rocky. The only inhabitants of the island were numerous seals. The poor castaway had to survive on their meat for several years, and he quenched his thirst with rainwater that collected in the stone depressions of the island. From the sealskins, Foss was able to sew himself warm clothing, and he built a sturdy house from stones with walls about a meter thick. Only after 3 years on the island did he manage to see a sail in the distance, which soon disappeared beyond the horizon. This incident gave our hero a bit of hope, because if one ship passed nearby, others might pass as well. Luck smiled on Foss only after another 2 years. A man waving an oar was noticed from a passing ship, but the ship could not approach the island closely due to dangerous rocky shoals. Then the optimistic Robinson plunged into the water, swam to the ship, and was finally rescued. That's all for now. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video.